Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Hybrid Now. Couple of things I wanted to show you guys. You know, the rumor, I'll call it a rumor, continues about not being able to get comfortable in the new Toyota Prius to get the seating right so that you can see the gauge cluster and be able to hang your arm out of the window, which is one of the biggest things for me. I'm one of those hang my arm out of the window kind of guys when I'm out driving around, right? Now, I think when the Prius first came out, it's so perfect that a lot of the talking head reviewers had to find something wrong with it. And there's two things that they kept dwelling on. One is road noise. And it does make some noise on the road. You can hear the tires slapping around. I admit, it's not the quietest car out there, but not a deal breaker for sure. And secondly, what I'm going to look at today is the gauge cluster and seating position. Now, we're going to go ahead, shut the door. I'm going to fire the car up. So let's go ahead and start it up here, or turn it on. You know, it's interesting with the Prius that you turn the car on. Let's shut the door so I can get rid of some noise here. And we'll go ahead and put the window down. So, we're running right now, and I love this. You have to look at the dash so you know it's actually on, because if you don't, then you don't know what's going on, right? So, right here is the first thing, and it's arm position. You can see I'm at a rather awkward angle for myself. I mean, I really need to be more level to be comfortable in here. And if you don't hang your arm out the window, or I should say rest it on the window, I mean, it's not like I'm driving around like this or anything. But if you rest your arm on the window like I do, or on the opening, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you're of my proportions or close, right? Now, to get it ideal, I would actually have to move the seat up. Let me open the door so I can show you. And we have controls down here. We've got lumbar, up, down, sideways, backwards, upside down. I mean, you get the idea. There's lots of adjustments, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move the seat up. And I'm going to get it to where I would say it's comfortable. And I think actually that's as high as it goes. That's as high as the seat goes right now. And you can see a problem, right? I mean, I am within probably 2 inches, inch and a half of the roof line. And when I go to get out of the car, I mean, you can imagine what's going to happen when I get in and out, right? I'm going to be hitting my head on the pillar here, or the frame of the window. So let's shut the door, and I'm curious to see. I mean, this is pretty good for me. If I was driving around like this, I think I'd be pretty comfortable, except for this problem. So we've got to lower the seat a bit to avoid this. Now, one other thing I want to mention is the gauge cluster up here. With the seat like this, I can see everything, the entire gauge cluster, and even the bottom part that doesn't show anything. So, you know, not that big a deal. Now, if I lower the seat, I'm trying to find somewhere to stick my camera. If I lower the seat, probably about right here. Right now the steering wheel is borderline on the gauge cluster. I can still see the whole gauge cluster, but I've lost a little bit of my arm comfort. I mean, it's not too bad, really, but still, I'm at more of that angle again. So that's really the only issue you have, and that would be if you're similar to my proportions. I mean, if you're taller from the waist up or shorter from the waist up, obviously that's going to lower and raise your shoulder, and that arm is going to be more severe whichever way you go. Now, this is a pretty petty thing, I realize. I'm stooping to the level of those early on car reviewers, but it is a thing, and you'll notice it if you get the Prius and you rest your arm on the door area here. Now, the other thing you can do, let's get the car back to where I sit. Let me hit the memory. Right here is where I drive. You can see it's a heck of a lot more angle, right? And then the steering wheel is relatively far. You hit the other button. I guess right here. I hit the wrong button. Number 2 on my memory is where I drive. I could lower the steering wheel, and to do that, It's not very complicated. I mean, you have the typical little thing. They didn't make it electronic or anything. And I'm gonna really mess it up when I do this because it's set how I like it. But hey, for you guys, we're gonna do it. I could go ahead and lower the steering wheel right there. Now, at that level, I am below the gauge cluster, but man, it would feel like I'm driving pretty low, honestly. And then getting in and out, I'm gonna be slamming my knee on the steering wheel. So I really have to be somewhere about, man, I can even come further up if I want. But I really need to be somewhere about right there. And what that does is it blocks the lower, I don't know, eighth of the gauge cluster. But the kicker there is there's nothing to see there. So it's not like you're really losing anything. I don't have any big problems with it. So my advice, I guess, if you're looking for the Toyota Prius, first of all, if you're a really tall person, and I would say that means probably over, I don't know, 6'4", maybe 6'2", the car is probably too small for you. I mean, you're probably not going to fit well in here, but I would imagine that's probably true for any car that you're looking at, any small or subcompact car. I mean, it's just the reality of it. I'm sure there's a lot of, 6'8" guys out there that would love to fit in a Corvette or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or whatever, but they're just not built for people that tall. And the same thing is true, I think, for the Toyota Prius. It's simply not built for people that are over, I don't know, about 6'2", maybe 6'4", something like that. And leave a comment, let me know. If you've got the Prius or you've been in the Prius and you're over 6'2", I'd like to know how it is for you. Do you actually fit in there? I'd be very curious to know about that because I just don't see it happening. The other thing is how far back can you put the seat? Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back. And this is it. Now, I would have a hard time. I mean, I can reach the pedals. It's not that big of a deal, but it wouldn't be comfortable for me. And let me tell you a quick story. When I first got this car, one of the settings is that when you turn it off, the seat will go back. And then when you get in and turn it on, it will go up to where you had it set last or where you programmed it to be. I wasn't aware of that. So every time I got in the car, I always kind of dropped in because the seat was too far back. It's kind of funny. It was kind of funny when I actually figured out that it wasn't really that way. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can get it back to position. There we go. I tell you, I love automatic or memory seats. They're awesome. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, kind of run through that a little bit for you guys. You can get it the way that you want it. You just have to be willing to, I guess, go through the process of figuring it out. Again, leave a comment. Let me know. If you are height blessed, or cursed in this case, do you fit inside the new Prius? I'd just be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.